My name's Mike Ellis. I have a problem. I rescue, refurbish, restore and revitalise vintage drums, in particular Premier drums. In this programme I'll share with you my adventures, ups and downs, ins and outs, triumphs and tragedies as I lavish some TLC on vintage British drums. Welcome to the Drum Fettler.
And now we go back to troubleshooting the Flobeam snare mechanism. You will recall that in the last episode I told you that you need to make sure that if you've got one of the concert snares, you need the 0655 wires, which are 409mm long, not the 0654 snare wires, which are 428mm long. If you do have the longer ones, when you need the shorter ones, you will have saggy wires. Nobody wants saggy wires. And I left you with this sage advice. It could be that you've got the wrong wires on. You might have been sold 0654 wires instead of 0655, so get that tape measure out and check them. The other possibility is your inner cast has broken or collapsed. The inner cast is inside here, so when you unscrew the terminal bolt here and this little bolt on the side and take everything off, inside here is one of these. This is in good condition. As you can see, this one is not in good condition. As you can see, it is broken. The top has snapped off. This one is usable, but not brilliant, because I don't know if you can see, it's got a little bit of a crack going on there, and it's obviously quite clearly bent over. So that could be another reason why. So you need to make sure that your inner cast is not broken or bent or cracked. As mentioned earlier, and worth pointing out again, the new inner casts, the 0113 inner casts, are bigger. You can see it from these two here. This is the new one, this is the old one. So if you want to make them fit into your old outer casting, you're going to have to get the hacksaw out and do a little bit of a trim on it. If you don't feel like doing that, send it to me or do your favourite drum fettler. It's now time to rejoin that spiffing chap, James Marston. He who used to work at Premier back in the day, making 252 pedals, and he also worked in the R&D department, so he knows them intimately inside and out. He now refurbishes them and gives them a very unique and individual custom finish, which he's been demonstrating. He started in the last episode, and in this episode we see the pedals building reach its conclusion. We rejoin the action just as the hoop clamp is being assembled.
Okay, this next bit, clamp, spring, two little clips, shaft, clamp rod, the bolt. You'll see what the bolt's for in a bit. Bit of a balancing act. Same issue again, we have splines on the end of the shaft, and either that hole or that hole you'll have to look carefully, but as I didn't take this to bits, I'm not sure which way out it came, but looking at it, that's the hole with the spline marks in, so it's going to go that way. Pretty simple. Spring, plate, line it all up, line it all up. And the reason I leave this till last is because if you put it in without that in there, without that in, clamp rides up and down on these corners here and here, and it chips the paint, which can be really, really annoying. This one's quite badly worn, and so it just rubs past. Grease up the hole as always, stick the screw in the clamp hole. Just holds that down enough to stop it catching on the corners. Then we can feed that in. like so. You see what's going on here? We're going to see how it sticks out with the spline showing. The reason we use a little bolt, if you look at the end of that, there's a nice cup on the end of it. That's a domed end on the shaft. So when we tap it in, cause minimum amount of damage to the end of the shaft, and we're aiming for slot there, that one there, because there's one clip, one of them seems to have gone, so we found the little blighters, that we're going to stick them where they belong, here, here. Small pair of long nose pliers, very tiny. Doesn't require a lot of force. It's starting to look like a pedal.
And now, more Flobeam fettling. Also, if you have saggy wires, you may have a problem with your levelling screws. These are things that the snare wires hook over at either end underneath the drum. Now, if they are not set up properly, it's quite tricky to get them right. If you've got them too tight, the wires will bow out of the head. If you've got them too loose, then the snare wires will just drop away from the head. They won't be close enough to it. So that's another one to look out for. And now, more 252 twiddling.
Time to put the spring in. One of these, the late models had one of these, which screwed onto there. And screw and a well greased spring in the hole. That's too far in. Set the spring, finally apply a bit of grease there. And on there, that onto there, that, there. So as we screw it down, eventually shove it up that end with the thumb, screw that down. Eventually you'll feel the rod take the weight of the spring. And then this little beauty. Goes in there, and it's to stop that arm coming out should you undo the tension screw too far. These things are beautiful.
I was asked recently if there was going to be any Drum Fettler merchandise, and I thought about it. Well, it's actually not such a bad idea, really, is it? So I'm in talks with a manufacturer of micro sparkly speedos, and as soon as the first samples come through, I shall be modelling some for you, so there's something to look out for in the future. But in terms of merchandise, well, there's already been some stuff at Blenheim Drums. If you go to the merchandising page of the Blenheim Drums website, you'll see lots of lovely little dinky toys and corgi toys, and anyone of a certain age will remember those from their childhood. and they are custom made by my own fair hands as fictional representations of Premier vehicles and some buses that may have existed back in the 50s, 60s and 70s. Not all the models are available because obviously it's dependent on the availability of donor models, but what I also came up with, which I'm not sure if anybody interested in, was these posters. Now this is the smaller one. As you can see, it is the alphabet, and it's made up of distinctive letters from famous drum logos, drum brands. You can see there's all sorts there. Can you ID them all? Well, I've done a few of these. There's this one, which is an A3 size poster, and then there's this lovely big one. So I suppose I could make some more of these. If anyone's interested, go to the website, go to the contact page, get in touch, let me know, and I'll see what can be done. In the meantime, the other thing that we are working on is the exclusive line of custom suppositories. Yes, you can have your medication made into this handy sized, comfortable to use suppository, which comes with its own applicator.
If you find yourself in need of Premier parts, and let's face it, who doesn't, pop along to the website. Even if you can't see what you need, drop me a line through the contact form. Also goes for Beverley drums, hammer drums and of course Olympic.
Okay, getting close now. Back again. Assemble this bit. Quite a simple job. Just drop nut in there, a little bit of grease on the thread, line it up in the hole, and perfect. Little spring sits inside there. Like so, a little bit of grease down there, washer, grease, there we have it. Spurs next, spring, fibre washer, stops the spring scratching the paint, the obligatory grease in the head holes. You don't need me to tell you how to finish that off.
So your snares won't stay on, they keep dropping off mid-song or just won't stay up, and it's no fun if things won't stay up when you want them to stay up, is it? No, of course it isn't. The reason for that is almost certainly most likely to be because your leaf springs are broken. The leaf springs go inside the mechanism. There's 4 of them to each side. They look like these. They're basically little bits of bent metal, and these do break and they do distort. So if your wires are not staying up, you need to get inside there, take off the cover. There's a cover either side of the inner mechanism, and have a look inside, and you will see the leaf springs. Now they'll either be distorted or broken. If they're broken, obviously you've got to replace them. If they're distorted, you can take them out with some snipe nose pliers and bend them back into shape, and you might be able to get a bit more life out of them that way. Well, those are the most common problems in my experience of owning a Flobeam, and the problems that you may face. If you do need some more information, this is the tech sheet. Now these are readily available online. These are easy to find. You just need to go to Google or your favourite search engine and search for the Premier Flobeam tech sheet. It troubleshoots some of the things that I've just been talking about. Well, I hope that has helped in some way and dispelled some of the myths and confusion that surrounds what is really a very reliable snare mechanism. It's always worth checking these things as part of your regular maintenance, because things like the leaf springs, you could break one and the snare drum will still function properly. So when you break a second one, then you've got real problems. I did a repair not so long ago where all 4 of the leaf springs were broken and the snares were being held on with the lever being tied up with rope and gaffer tape, and well, it worked, but it wasn't right. Anyway, I hope that helped. What are you prattling on about, you idiot? Look at the state of him. I mean, I don't know why I bother. Really, it should be me who does more of this and not him. That's all very well for you to say, but I'm obviously the cleverer of the two of us. No, A lot of people say to me, anything you say will be taken down and maybe used in evidence in a court of law against you. A lot of people say to me, just what is it that I need to have a lovely workshop just like the Drum Fettler? Well, I'll show you. Big work surfaces. A vise, another vise. Plenty of shelving. Specialist tools. A bucket. Storage for big bits. Power tools. Storage for little bits. More power tools. Sharp, pointy things. A proper toolbox. A first aid box. Power tools on a stand with some comedy boobs. A non-offensive calendar next to the comedy boobs. A modern fire extinguisher. Cheesy snacks. A trampoline. A minibar. A security guard. Howitzer! Well, I'm terribly sorry. We appear to have lost the Drum Fettler for the time being. So, in the meantime, here's some music. Well, dear viewer, that time has come. Yes, this is the last edition of the Drum Fettler in this series. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but all good things must come to an end. Even fabulous things like this must sooner or later end. But don't worry, we will be back. See? Yes, we'll be back with a Christmas special, which, controversially, will be out at Christmas. And in the new year, in the year 2020, there will be another season of Drum Fettler episodes. That is, assuming my assassins don't get me, or my internal organs don't finally give up the ghost, or a comet lands on me, or I get arrested and put away for a long time. So, I mean, there's lots of variables, but the plan is I will be back next year with more fettlage. In fact, we've already started work on the second series and we got some tremendously exciting stuff coming, and one really colly-wobbling project that's already underway, and that's going to form quite a bit of the first few episodes, I think. A very big project, but I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you anything as much as I'd like to, but it's a really it's a biggie. It's a biggie on the big side of bigginess. I hope you've been entertained, maybe even educated. We tried to cover as many things as we could. Some things we weren't able to do. And don't forget, if you need anything doing, just get in touch with me via the website on the contact page. Restorations, customisations, anything you want. If you've got an idea for an old drum kit, or you want it just fettling or repairing or bringing back to its former glory, get in touch, see what we can do. You've seen all the bits and parts we've got here. If you're someone who does your own fettling, could have the bits that you need. Well, I think that's just about it for now, so all that remains for me to do is to ask you to stand and join with me in singing the company song.
He's a drum fettler, he's a drum fettler. He's quite a chubby chump and he hasn't got much hair. He's a drum fettler and he fettles his drums using his hands and his fingers and his thumb. He's a drum fettler and he likes to fettle. He doesn't drink tea, so he doesn't need a kettle. He's a drum fettler, he uses tools like a hammer. He speaks quite nicely and he doesn't have a stammer. Bum, 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 bum.